So at the end of 2019, I was 29 years old. My wife and I had just found out that we were expecting our first kid. And at that point in time in my life, on paper, everything looked exactly the way it was supposed to. I had gotten the diploma, both high school and college. I found the girl, we got engaged, we bought the house, we got married, and I honestly had a job in a career that I thought I was going to work at for the rest of my life. I loved it there. People loved me there. I loved what I did. It was my passion. And I was good at it, like really good at it. And I had checked literally every single box that I thought I was supposed to check in life. But I kept feeling this friction that I didn't know how to explain. It was this low level tension that I honestly just kept telling myself it was a tough season and it would pass. Well, it didn't pass. And March 2020 hit and this global chaos just breaks out, and I got physically pulled out of the environment that I had built my entire sense of self around. And what was already this feeling that I had deeply became really impossible to ignore. Like, I was all over the place emotionally. I was really high, then I was really low, and kept undulating between those 2 points. I couldn't focus. I couldn't really, perform the way that I knew I was capable of. And some days, like, to be totally honest, like, I just wanted to be in the fetal position and not move, not exist in life. And here's what I thought was happening. I honestly thought I was burned out. I was overwhelmed, overworked, like all the classic symptoms, right? I was probably some of that too, but that wasn't actually the problem. The real problem here was that I had built my entire sense of self, my identity, on something that could be taken away. And the moment it was, I had no idea who I was without it. And it really scared me. And here's what I hear from business owners that I work with more than almost anything else. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me, Colin. Like, things are going well. I know they are, but like, I just feel off. I just have this weird feeling inside of me. Or they'll just say they think they're burning out, or they'll even laugh a little and say it feels like they're having some kind of crisis, right? Like they should go out, buy a sports car and just like completely blow their life up and do something different. And they're almost embarrassed to say it because, I mean, like I said, on paper, like nothing is technically wrong. They're winning in life. And honestly, like I do get why they reach for those labels. I feel for them because they feel close enough to what's happening that they stick, right? Like those labels just stick with them. But here's what I actually think is going on. What most business owners are experiencing in those situations, like they are the ones who have been building this business and building success for 10, 15, 20 years. It isn't burnout. And it's not this dramatic breakdown or crisis that they're having in life. What's actually happening is deeper than that. And honestly, more simple than they might even think. The story that they've been telling themselves about who they are just has become outdated. It's not accurate anymore. That's it. Really, like that's the whole thing. The role, the title, the way that they've defined themselves for so long, like it got them here, it worked. But it's not what is going to get them there. And somewhere along the way, without them even noticing, right? It just stopped fitting. And dude, I see this with the people I work with constantly. They have this moment and make this shift, and it happens externally, right? The business hits a new level, like a key person leaves the business, the kids, they get older, they finally hit a number they've been chasing for years, and it feels hollow. And suddenly they see it, like there's cracks in this, right? There's chinks in their armor that they just haven't felt before. And what comes through those cracks is a question that so many business owners have never actually had to sit with before, or given themselves space to sit with before. And the question is, who am I really? And take away the CEO, the operator, the one who holds everything together, the provider, take all that stuff away. Who are you when none of that is the answer? And here's why that question honestly feels very disorienting. Like it's not this new profound question. It's been there this whole time. It's just buried underneath all the work, the results, the performance, the productivity, whatever it is. It's buried underneath the constant motion and the next thing and the next thing after that. When you keep moving, you just don't have to face it. And when I found out that we were having our first kid, I was genuinely stoked. Like, who wouldn't be, right? Like, this is awesome. And then it pretty quickly shifted into like, oh shit, this is really real. And I started to think about what it actually meant to be a parent, how I wanted to show up, who I wanted to be for my kid. And I had this image, this visualization I just couldn't shake. My kid was a teenager pulling away from me, and I knew exactly why in this image. And it was because I'd spent my whole life building an identity on performance and achievement. And when that ran out, I was trying to live out my life through them instead. And that was one of those moments where it hit me square in the face, and it made me finally stop long enough to realize I had been running from a question I didn't even know I was avoiding up until that point. And I became aware of it then. But I want to be honest, I didn't answer that thing overnight. That's not how this works. And to be clear about something, because the phrase, identity crisis, it can carry a lot of weight, and most of it isn't useful, right? An identity crisis doesn't mean that you're falling apart, and it doesn't mean something has honestly gone terribly wrong. It doesn't mean that you need to just go and blow your life up right now and change everything. What it does mean is that the version of you that got you here, the story you've been running on, the way that you've just defined yourself, it's just outdated now. It's what got you here, and it's not what is going to get you there. And that's not failing. What it actually is evidence that you've just grown past it, right? I mean, think about it this way. You've grown. The business has grown. Your responsibilities, the decisions that you're making, the pressure that you feel and that you're carrying, all of it has just evolved over time. And most of us are still just running on this identity that was formed a long time ago, right? Under different circumstances, different pressure, a different season of life or business, and for a different version of you. And what I see most often is that people just aren't even aware of that happening, right? They just know something feels off. And it's because they can't name it. They keep trying to fix the wrong thing, because a lot of it they're trying to find on the surface level. And they hire more people. They adjust their schedule. They take a vacation and come back feeling exactly the same as they did before. None of it touches the actual thing because it's underneath the surface. And the actual thing is this, they've never just stopped long enough to define who they are outside of what they produce, aka all these external things. And look, again, most business owners just haven't done that, right? And I'm not here to be a critic and offer that as criticism. I say it because it's just the reality of how we operate. We love to move fast. We love to problem solve and just keep ourselves moving and busy, right? So slowing down to ask, who am I really? I mean, it just feels deep. It feels like too much, or like something you'll get to later when things finally calm down, right? But we both know, you and I both know, that things don't calm down eventually, and you know that. So what I found, both in my own life and with the people that I work with, is that the quality of everything else is downstream of this question. How you lead, how you make decisions, the way that you show up when you walk through the front door at home, all of it is connected to how clearly you are able to answer this question and define it. So here's something that I want to leave you with. This isn't as like a framework or a homework or a task that you need to do, but just a simple starting point. When that question comes up, who am I really? Don't just leave it as an unanswered question. That's one of the worst things that you can do. Simply start by turning it into a statement. I am someone who values this. I am someone who shows up like this. I do this. I am this, right? I am someone who, when everything else is stripped away, still believes this. There's no right or wrong answers here, guys. And most people just don't even give themselves the space to ever write that out. Not really. And the ones who do, I've seen this firsthand with myself and clients, something does shift. It's not this overnight miracle, but it does over time. But the decisions get clearer, the volume on all that internal noise just gets dialed down. And the version of yourself that you've been trying to outrun starts to feel a little less like a threat. The question of who you are is not this dangerous question that you need to run from. It's the one that you should have been asking and honestly answering. I'm not just asking, but answering all along. And the fact that it's surfacing now, the fact that the static is getting loud enough that it just cannot be ignored anymore, that's not a sign that something is wrong with you or that you are broken. It's just simply a sign that you've grown past a story that was never meant to last forever. It was good for a season. So if this is landing close to home, go watch this video I did a couple weeks back, and I have it linked on this page here. Why successful business owners feel empty even when things are going well. And it goes much deeper on a lot of what we talked about today. And if you're at this point where you know it's time to actually do something about this and not just think about it more, I've got a small group retreat that I'm doing in July up in Big Bear, California. It's 4 days, 6 to 8 people. Your opportunity to honestly disconnect and get out of the day-to-day so you can zoom out and finally give yourself some space to breathe again, while you also get to be around people who just get it. They get the business ownership, the life, and you. So if that's something you want to know more about, the link is in the description below. Feel free to check it out and DM me on Instagram with any questions if you have them. Now, on that note, I do appreciate you sticking around. If you found anything in this video today valuable, give it a like or even hit the subscribe button. Do both, because I do post a video like this every Saturday. And of course, the algorithmic things and the YouTube gods, it helps. So on the note, signing off here. Thank you for being here, and I'll catch you on the next one.